Now, actor Warwick Davis received the BAFTA Fellowship Award last night, and in his acceptance speech, he paid tribute to his wife, Sam, who passed away a year ago. He obviously earlier, he had paid tribute to his late wife, Sam, and then he said that about Sponge. Now, nobody knows who Sponge is. I think we're assuming that this might be someone who's come into his life, and he says, you know, to thank you for helping me. Could be a pet, we don't know. But to help you find love and laughter again, particularly laughter. And we were discussing that today, saying, you know, is there a right time? When is the right time that you feel you can laugh again? Should you laugh again? Do you feel guilty laughing again? And Coleen, so sadly, you know, very recently, you've had this terrible loss again with your family, with Linda. Do you feel guilty if you laugh, or do you think she'd want you to be laughing?
I think the thing with grief in itself is you feel all those emotions. You know, there's some days when I laugh and it hits me and I think I shouldn't be laughing. And then there's other days when I'm crying and think she wouldn't want me to cry. So it's every emotion, and it can happen 10 different times a day. Are there times when... The thing with me is, and my family, actually, and Linda and Bernie included, we always made sure humour was involved, because it was the only way we could move on from it. And sometimes that's the only way I can move on, because if I carried on crying how much I have been crying, if I didn't then all of a sudden find something funny and be able to get out of bed, I wouldn't get out of bed, and I'd never stop crying. And it was getting to a point where I was getting so low inwardly that I thought, I don't want to go back. I don't want to do anything. You know, I just didn't see joy in anything. I lost feeling, really. I just felt really... It was, like, really numbing, and people were phoning up, and it was wonderful, and the response we got and all of that, but it was just... And I've still got it a bit where I'm having to, yeah, fine, I'll do that, but actually there's something inside me that's actually going, I don't want to. I'm really tired. But equally... It's exhausting, but equally, I think for me it's that thing of, if I don't go out and live, then what's the point? And if I don't laugh, then what's the point? Because laughter is a great healer.
And also, Linda lived the best life she could with cancer.
Well,
she
and remember,
laughed every time we saw her.
Linda played the cancer card for 20 years. You know, every time...
Cruel. She'd be pretty angry with you now.
Every time I said no to something, she'd go, you have to, I've got cancer. And I go, you know, and
you said even the day before.
The day before she died, we were at the hospital and she was sitting up moaning about this very watery mushroom soup that they'd given her. But then we were laughing a lot on that day and reminiscing, and it was a lovely day, actually. And then 24 hours later, you know, she passed away. But she was laughing, and she wanted us to enjoy it. But obviously I just think we've got to stop judging how people deal with grief, and I've got to stop caring how people are judging me.
Yeah.
You know, I got out of the funeral car smiling because there was about 2,000 people looking and smiling, and then I'm getting slated on social media, what's she smiling about? And I'm like, what? I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
And it bothered me at first, and then I thought, I've got to stop caring what people... We all deal with it differently.
And actually, how wonderful it was that so many people turned out for her funeral.
That
was something to be rejoiced.
Not acknowledge them.
That would have made me smile. If that had been my sister, I'd have gone, wow, look at all these people.
Well, because it made us cry in the car, because when we turned the corner, there was all these people there, and it made us cry because Linda would have loved it. Yeah. And I was so glad they turned out for her. And so you get out and it's like a gratitude thing. But then, as usual, you know, media...
Do you think we can be a bit judgy about grief, perhaps?
They were judging about everything.
Sometimes we even say, people are saying, why is she smiling? Other people go, why is she not crying? Yeah. You know, her sister's just died. I had that, you know, my sister died in very tragic circumstances, and I needed to come back to work. I need structure in my life, because otherwise I could just fall apart and cry all day. As most people, you know, we've all had grief. It's nothing to do about, you know, being on TV. Just whatever job I had, I'm that person that goes, OK, I've done a lot of crying, we've done everything, we've done the funeral. That's the biggest act of love, I think, when you send someone off. It's your final act of love, isn't it? Once you've done that, I understand the flatness, because you think there's so much to do when someone passes away. And then I am a person that needs to get structure back in my life. Like, I need to get up, I need to wash my hair, I need to get out of the house, I need to do something. And so work gives me that. And I can put that kind of crying in the shower and then go, right, stop now, because, right, come on, stop, put the crying in a box,
But it's
go
funny,
to
you know,
work.
because the thing that helped me was I had 29 animals looking at me going, sorry about your sister, but any chance you put a hay net in? They don't care. And it was like that, things like that helped me, you know.
But in your culture, Judy, you were talking earlier, you said it's common to wail and really get it out.
We will roll. You're lucky we don't jump in that grave with you. I mean, it's it is culturally a thing of, like, especially, you know, if it's someone really close, like a mother or so, you know, the aunties will be like, why is she not crying? And her mother's gone. You know, there's an expectation, and I'm blessed and grateful for that, to be able to have that emotion. But when my mum passed away, I was 9 months pregnant, so there was that moment of, like, all right, cry, get it out, and then they were like, OK, you need to stop crying now because we need to make sure the baby's all right. So you are pulled in different areas, but when it comes to grief, it's such a intimate, personal and individual journey, and I think it's really important for you to allow yourself, your body, your emotions to embrace what you're feeling at that time. And whether it is numbness or whether it is, you know, wanting to wail from the pit of your stomach, wanting to be on your own, it is your journey. Unfortunately, you know, culturally, in the West Indian culture, in the Western culture, there is so much things that is labelled on how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to be. But what people need to understand is that the chemicals in your body, in that moment when you've had the most devastating news, not even you know how you're going to cope, you know? So I think it's just about allowing people to go through the experience themselves. And like you said, you know, what you were saying is that remember the person. What would they want? You know, I think we get stuck in this thing of, like, not even stuck, from my own personal experience, definitely connects you, but you don't want to get out, you don't want to do anything. Your world has stopped. And then you have that moment of guilt. I remember when my dad died and I came back to work maybe like a week or so later, and I was at work and I was like, yeah, I'm actually fine. And then it was just something so simple of being in the change room and putting on bright clothes. And I broke down here, and the team was absolutely amazing, but it was just the reality of going back to normal, which in your heart is never normal again.
Well, we would just like to say we send our love to Warwick. Obviously, we know Warwick here from, you know, ITV shows that he's done, and we do send him lots of love from all of us.